This week's videos are sponsored by Prize Picks, the easy-to-use fantasy sports betting app. More on them in just a bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm Greg. That's the man you're here for, Coy Jandreau, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we're going to talk about a couple of things. You can tell by the title. We said we did this last week. I'm glad we're doing it today. One of the main things we're going to do is talk about the post-credit scenes that have not been acknowledged yet.
Utilized in any way.
Utilized in any way, but before that, I thought this would be fun. Coy, I'm going to do the gayest thing we've ever done together.
Oh.
Now, not the gayest thing. Not the gayest thing we've ever done individually.
But together.
But the gayest thing in the Greg and Coy dynamics.
All right.
I took a photo of myself.
I literally have no idea where this is going. Is it a nude?
No.
Into your mouth.
But you're going to wish. So I've been tracking my progress.
Oh, dude.
And Coy is the person here who I talk the most with about everything. Now, keep in mind, this is, while relatively close to a mirror, it's still in good lighting. And I was flexing.
I respect the caveats.
It's not a,
You're a man of honor.
It's not a before and after where it's like,
Same
neutral
conditions.
lighting and stuff. No, this is definitely it. But I'm still pretty proud because the six-pack is coming.
Hey!
It's starting to happen.
Hey!
It's getting close. Let me slide this photo over to you.
All right. Oh, dude, I can see it from afar. You have oblique definition. You have the top, I'd say, 4 completely aware. The bottom 2 are coming in, which are the hardest 2 to get, and the gutters. I tell you what.
What is no
the Marquis Mark, the little hip. I mean,
mark that. No, we can't say that.
I was gonna say note to whoever is chopping this.
You're right. That's probably
the
not a
first
word
part
for the
of the
internet.
gutter. Yeah, you can't say.
That's fair. That's fair. That's what it's called.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
It's coming, right?
Dude, good work.
It's happening.
You've been reading comics and going, I want to look like that, and it's showing.
It's happening. I needed a good lighting photo because I was like, I need to know if I'm making any progress.
No, it's the regular light is demoralizing.
Regular light, I feel like nothing's happening.
Yeah, why am I doing this every day?
I'm losing weight.
I haven't eaten in weeks.
Yeah. I'm proud of it.
Nutrition's important, but you got to eat. That's great work. I think it's the most shredded I've seen you.
It's the most shredded I've ever. It's weird. It's not the skinniest I've been, but it's definitely the most like. Oh, I'm starting to get the cut.
You have to be. It helps to be muscular to have abs. There are skinny abs. They look different.
Thank you.
It's good work.
I'm glad we got this on camera.
That's the beginning. I love that the show started. We're going to talk about post-credit scenes, but first, pre-credit abs.
Let's get gay.
Yeah, it's good work. It's excellent work.
We're tracking even better now with the LGBTQ plus viewers.
Yes.
Keep it up, gang.
Half the comments are like, it's not gay. The other half is, these guys are so gay.
Bringing
the calendar is coming soon. Just the 2 of you oiled up on the set, with each of our collectibles.
I got to catch up to him first because I am not in that good a shape, and that's gonna be fun once I'm ready to oil up.
Once I get the full lower abs 6-pack, it's pizza time.
I want to have it just to lose it.
Not lying. Now, here's the fun thing I wanted to kick this off with. Even though I thought that was pretty fun.
I think you should.
I'm gonna read
use
you guys,
the word I said with a beep, like a Walmart, beep gutters.
I'm gonna read you guys Coy's message. I was trying to find news stories, and let's see here.
I'm gonna hear how I text, not coherently.
So Coy said, when we were trying to figure out stories, he was like, "There's absolutely a story in Thunderbolts marketing as well, and how small its second week drop might be. Thunderbolts new title plus post credit roundup, and tying that into new title could be solid." And I was like, "New title? What are you talking about?" I didn't say any of this to him. I didn't know there was a new title.
You hadn't heard?
I hadn't heard.
It's been everywhere.
I hadn't heard. And I was like, "There's a new title? What is he talking about?"
Do you know it now?
I know it.
It is on the sides
It
of
is
buildings.
literally.
And
when you go to AMC, it's the poster.
Is it?
It's literally everywhere.
Shocked me because I was like, "Why is Coy telling me there's a new title? Isn't this kind of a spoiler?" And
I was
and weirdly enough, I didn't know. I was looking for news stories and nothing popped up about this.
I gave it days because I was like, surely by now. They did a press release on Monday. This was a Thursday text.
Oh wow, yeah, I've been really busy and I didn't look up news stories until late last night. I was like,
literally
what's recent?
Monday.
I was at a Regal last night, and their wall of screens that is like to the ceiling was just like
I
new
thought
title.
it was safe.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is out, and I haven't seen this movie. I am one of the hosts here who drew the straw to do a reaction to it. I don't want to know what the post-credit scene is. Everyone figured it would be Dark Avengers, and so like hearing there's a new time. I'm not sure would I have liked to get that reaction on camera. Absolutely.
You don't know how.
But I don't know the details. I don't know much. I haven't listened to a single review. I mean, John and Roxy, their review went over great with audiences. Your guys' spoiler talk went on for a long time, and it seemed like it went on great for audiences as well, but of course avoided it. So I am doing my best to avoid anything, as I don't know jack about a lot of why people love this movie, except for some like mental health aspect, but
which we were hearing before because we talked about it before we saw it or before I saw it.
Exactly. It's like little things I heard, but I don't want to know the specifics of the post-credit scene. But you brought this up, and you said this would tie into the post-credit scene.
Yes.
So, what can you say about the new Avengers?
One, hilarious that between Monday and Wednesday, I was like, man, everyone in the world has to have heard this. You're like, what new title? And like, we're deeply in the media space. Like, they literally, Sebastian Stan was walking around Burbank hanging up the poster over the old poster himself.
Yeah, I did not know this. But that's cool. Cool new title. It's weird. I felt like I should be bummed by knowing that, but I guess because everyone expected the word Avengers to be why there's the asterisk. I'm not.
It's not as big, and you still don't know how it applies.
But dang, for marketing purposes,
Dude,
that is really smart. And
second bracket drop off must be so much less because people are like, wait a second, now I need to see this for a different reason.
I read let me pull it up. What I heard the expectation for the second weekend is supposed to be, because we are shooting this on a Thursday. I don't know. It's expected to have like a much stronger second week than usual.
Yeah, the legs.
Because like the opening is on par with stuff like Eternals and under Captain America Brave New World, which was not a box office hit, but due to word of mouth, due to audience score, it would appear that its second week is going to hold pretty strong. And that's even losing a lot of IMAX screens to Sinners again.
Yeah, I think that's next week. I think it's got 2 weeks in IMAX.
Oh, it does.
think.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and yeah, so the drop off is expected to be relatively low, which is awesome. So it could potentially actually make its money because the movie costs close to $200 million to make.
And I think it made 180 worldwide so far. So
yeah, I think it has to make like $400 million worldwide in order to break. So, but this marketing smart
Genius.
of being able to say New Avengers, which makes more people be like, shit, I got to go watch this then.
I love that it was also a faith in the movie decision because like you have $1 billion word in Avengers and you don't waste it. Yeah. It gets to be a moment. It gets to be a reveal. It gets to be something that they can reveal in marketing after the fact. They did footage at the premiere of them like taking off a line of text over the poster and revealing New Avengers. And you get to put that out on the Monday after the release. Like Sebastian Stan doing the poster thing. All that's really good marketing built in, and it doesn't not serve the story. Like you still get to have that moment in story. So you being not as disappointed actually makes sense because the way it gets used is completely going to be new to you, which is exciting. And the way the film markets itself is, you know, this underdog story. And I kind of like that the movie's an underdog story that I think is going to have great legs and last a long time because of how good it is, the word of mouth, all of the things that make a movie strong. To me, I would much rather have a film do the opposite of Multiverse of Madness. Like Multiverse of Madness is like, here's everything you want. And this movie's like, hey, this movie's so good. like that's crazy. Like, so to me, this is confidence. To me, this is a testament to the cinema score, the Rotten Tomatoes score, the word of mouth, but that all is on trust. You can't release a movie called Thunderbolts and then be like, by the way, it's New Avengers, unless you know the cinema score, the Rotten Tomatoes, like, you know what I mean? Like that feels like old school Marvel. To me, that feels like Marvel being like, hey, we made a shared universe. People are going to be here. Let's do it. And then that like kind of swing. And how often do you get something that is in the cinematic landscape a title change that feels like it's not flailing.
Well, it doesn't feel like it's spoiling anything, honestly, because most of them are announced to be in Avengers Doomsday, and you would assume then they are Avengers then.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't feel like it's a spoiler.
And like Edge of Tomorrow changed his title to Live, Die, Repeat, but that felt like it was like, title, it didn't work. And like, this doesn't feel like
Let's
that.
just call it Harley Quinn.
Tom Cruise is here. Oh yeah, that's another one. Like the emancipation of Harley Quinn by or whatever it was. I don't even remember.
By the coward Robert Ford.
But like that to me did feel like they were just like Harley's in it as opposed to the original title.
Yeah.
And to me, this feels like, hey, we've got a plan. We're gonna wait, and then we're gonna do this awesome switch. And in the age of post-credit scenes, Marvel kind of made themselves the biggest game in town with post-credit scenes. There had been post-credit scenes before, but Marvel changed what they were. This feels like an awesome moment where they're like, hey, by the way, it's a different title. Like, what a cool thing.
So if I go on AMC, is it the New Avengers?
On the title, it says Thunderbolts. The poster says New Avengers.
Okay.
So I think maybe I don't know if they're going to change it, but it still says Thunderbolts asterisk everywhere. And then the poster says New Avengers.
I think it's smarter on a second week to do it because on the first, if you call this the New Avengers, if it was called the New Avengers and then it opened to the numbers that it got right now, it would look like a massive failure.
But if it has legs and it only drops 30% instead of the usual, because I think
it's a smart way to frame it.
Brave New World, I think, had like a 50 to 60% drop.
It was pretty awful.
It was rough. And I think because it opened decent, because that's all the diehard Marvel fans are going to see no matter what.
They all open decent, outside of the Marvels.
Yeah, this is going to be a testament to like what the legs are nowadays for Marvel.
All right, cool. Well, congratulations, New Avengers. Yeah, I don't feel like it's
I can't wait to see.
They're announced to be in the Avengers movie. Like they must be Avengers. You know, why? I'm not surprised. I guess I'm not surprised by it, but I still can't wait to see what unfolds. I'm pretty good at knowing generally how to dodge stuff.
You didn't even know this?
I didn't even know it. Honestly, I'm surprised that I didn't learn it. But I've been off my phone a lot more this week, so it kind of helps. Anyway. I want to see how this conversation then. Do you have a way to transition this into the post credits? You do?
I do.
All right.
Speaking of things that set up future things in bold ways, I feel like the post credit scene, which I will not tell you in this, is just as confident in the name change. But I feel like a lack of confidence in other post credit scenes has caused the disquiet among the Marvel fans. I feel like a lot of the reason people talk about Marvel films, especially on the internet, is like the ending, the post-credit, what's it setting up? And I feel like when that's your diehard audience, when you're not diehard, but the most passionate, when the most passionate audience is the one going like, that sets up this, and I'm so excited, and you get enough of those that feel like they don't set up anything, it starts to make the whole brand feel lesser. Even if the movie's amazing, if your post-credit scenes feel like they don't actually have a vector, a directive, it starts to cause that unease. And I feel like a lot of Phase 4 and 5 are great movies. And instead of remembering the great movies, we remember like, so Harry Styles, is that gonna Hercules? Is he coming? Like all of those things I think cumulatively add up, because when you leave a restaurant and you had a great meal, but then you get in a fight at the end, you don't remember the meal. I feel like that kept happening with Marvel, where it's like, oh, we got in the fight in the car ride home. I don't remember how good the spaghetti was. So I feel like now this credit scene, which you haven't seen, is awesome. And I feel like that shows a confidence that they have a directive going forward. This is I think this is the first film from the new Bob Iger era, like completely started with him. And it feels like a very intentional direction into where we've been, not lately.
Yeah, I believe they said this is the example of the new age of Marvel, of how we are like dialing stuff back and focusing on quality. And I'm sure they had that same script ready if Captain America Brave New World got the same response. And they're like, this is it. This right here is what we're talking about.
You've seen Cap.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of the issues I had with Captain America, I don't think it's a bad film. I don't think it's a great film. I think it's an okay film, and I reviewed it as such. I tried to be pretty clear in that I don't think it's bad, but I could see greatness in it, and that's harder sometimes when you can see potentiality, and neutral almost hurts more when you can see the potential. For me, Thunderbolts is all of the opposite. It's actualizing on its potential. It's actually landing the plane. And so for me, if that's true and they had this plan going forward, this to me feels like, oh, we know how we want things to land. Whereas all of that movie to me felt like they were like, change the leader's look to make him less good. And like the look we had in previs was great. And let's take out all of the actual commentary. Like those things don't feel like a confident studio. It feels like them to be in like movie. Thunderbolts has something to say. It has a lot to say.
I can't wait to watch it, man. In approximately 50 days from now, I will be watching it. Well, let's go into the post-credit scenes that haven't been followed up on yet. I mean, some of them I read some of the lines, and some of them will just be like, oh, we'll get that eventually. But then there's some where it's like, what did happen with this? So we have it in release date order.
I'm so excited to hear this.
John, do you have it pulled up?
All righty. We have the release date order of every post-credits here. Or, well, wait a minute. This starts at 2016 with Doctor Strange.
I think these are the ones that haven't been paid off.
That haven't been paid off. Cool. All right. Sorry. Yes, Doctor Strange 2016. You want me to just read off what happens in the little...
Yeah.
All right. Mordo confronts Pangborn, declaring there are too many sorcerers.
Okay, yeah, we did. Did we deal with that in Multiverse of Madness? I don't recall. I don't think we did.
Nope.
They were supposed to, right? Wasn't
Yeah.
there like a deleted scene where he's supposed to encounter Scarlet Witch?
Yeah, and causing any sort of tension between the two of them to make sense, yes.
Do you think there'll be a payoff to this?
I think that Scott Derrickson's Doctor Strange 2 would have, but I now think that we've gone too far. That was 9 years ago.
Do you think Mordo? I don't even feel like people really care that it didn't get paid off.
Like, I don't know what Scott Derrickson's idea was, but if this is the post-credit scene, I imagine it would have gone directly into that as opposed to like, skirt.
Why do you think they didn't?
I think the Scarlet Witch concept got so big that they didn't really know what to do with it. I think it got like overwhelmed. Like, and also they could have had Brother Voodoo. I would have had Brother Voodoo. I think they should have brought in that idea and like brought in more magic elements, but they didn't.
But isn't that Mordo still? Unless he's like dead off screen and that deleted scene is canon, isn't that Mordo still like running around?
Yeah. And then he's so weird and different in Multiverse of Madness. Like, what was that?
Yeah. But that was the variant.
That was a variant, but like we didn't address that really.
No, we didn't. Oh, and you have Chiwetel Ejiofor on your hands.
Yeah, use him.
Amazing actor.
Well, it's like Idris Elba took like 3 movies until they were like, we should probably let Heimdall do some stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true. Yeah, that's
like
true.
there was like 2 Thor movies where he's just like,
Mr. Stoicism. Yeah.
look at my cool contacts. I'm like, you're Idris Elba.
All right.
So
Well,
that's one that, yep,
what's
clearly.
next?
And that's phase, what, 2, 3? 2016?
Two.
Yeah,
Two.
that's a while back.
Yeah. All right. Next up, you got Spider-Man Homecoming, where Mac Gargan hints at knowing Spider-Man's identity. Little Scorpion.
You have not seen Better Call Saul.
I've not, but I hear the guy's great.
Yeah,
He's great as Scorpion.
He plays a character named Nacho on Better Call Saul. This dude is a powerhouse of an actor. Shocks me that they don't even seem to give 2 shits about following through with using an amazing actor. Scorpion is one of Spider-Man's most popular villains. Freaking
How
Your
excited
Friendly
we got your friendly
Neighborhoods
neighborhood spider? Yeah.
nailed
we
it.
lost our minds because he was so good.
They did such a great job, and he was one of the main villains. The final battle is with him, and he whoops Spider-Man's ass the first time. He's scary, and you have an actor who is more than capable of pulling off something amazing. And to me, it's a real disappointment. And
Yeah.
and now they've like really fumbled the ball
And
here
it's been
with
10 years.
throwing Michael Keaton off into somewhere else that is a different freaking thing because of Morbius.
Yeah.
So now you can't even really follow through with Vulture now.
Yeah, they've wasted 2 of his most iconic villains.
Yeah,
Not
it's
wasted because he was good in Homecoming.
It's
but
weird, yeah. You do have Vulture in the MCU, and now it seems like he's taken out of the MCU and stuck in Morbius land.
Yeah, which they just ended.
Which, yeah, they just they really shut the bed there. Now you can't use him, or you got to bring him back in some weird way of like, he had some experience here with Morbius.
The portal thing at the end of No Way Home, when they're all like spiraling and there's cloud forms of like Kraven and Vulture, like are they gonna acknowledge that? Like, remember you see all
yeah.
Is that because that was like,
my
finally,
God,
finally
yeah.
Sinister Six, maybe.
Wow. I mean, but that's not as big to me where like you actually set up Scorpion
No,
in
no, he's
Spider-Man
physically
Homecoming.
there. Yeah.
And then on top of that too, you have a great actor, one who can fill those shoes.
I love the Spider-Man movies. Like, they're not my favorite, but I do enjoy them quite a bit. I feel like of any MCU movie, that trilogy is the most like, we have to pivot between the two. Between all three of them. Like, from 1 to 2, they clearly set up an Aunt May reveal at the end of 1. She just is cool with it in the second movie.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the second movie, at the end of the first movie, they also, established that's going to be a storyline that's going to build. But then the end of the second movie, it clearly is setting up a Craven movie. Like, he's on the run. People know who he is. And the third movie's like, it's fine. Like, those movies are the most, like, the middle feels like it's missing something. And the post-credit scenes, I think, are a big part of that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What makes a good post-credit scene? What does make a good post-credit scene? Like, bless you, there's several variations to a good post-credit scene. I think Ryan Coogler really has a great understanding of it. He proved it with Sinners, and I think he proved it with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever as well. Those are probably my favorite kind of post-credit scenes now, where they feel of substance. It seemed like the time before was setting up the next thing and making that fucking amazing and like get you hyped and pumped. Like, we're starting the Avengers. Sam Jackson, brilliant. That was the start.
Storytelling and a cool moment.
Yeah, and the start of the post-credit scenes was that. And now I think they have to evolve. It's weird. Like, post-credit scenes are a category where they do have to evolve a little bit beyond.
It can't just be guy walks in, says funny name.
Teaser. Yeah.
Like, to me, that's what post-credit scenes have become. Like, if I didn't know comics, it'd be like, hello, I'm and then like disappear. Like,
Yeah.
to me, if you don't know the name, if you don't know the importance, it's just someone speaking Latin at you and then going away in credits and everybody else in the audience going, yeah. I think they need to be scenes. I think it needs to be storytelling. I think it needs to be, you could have a new character in that storytelling, but it needs to have impact for the day-to-day viewer too.
Yeah.
Like a good movie. Like, you should care about the characters whether or not you know their name or not. So I feel like it can't just be like the Hercules scene where he just like stands up and he's like, hello, I'm Roy Kent.
I like that's on the list. I like a post-credit scene that feels like an epilogue.
I love Sinners because it was so impactful and interesting.
And long.
And long.
that
So
post-credit.
it's a scene.
Yeah.
It's not a post-credit scene. It's a scene.
It's a full thing.
Yeah.
Post-credit movie.
And it's so good.
All right. What's next on the list?
Next, so that was 2017 for Homecoming. After that is The Falcon and the Winter Soldier in 2021, in which Sharon Carter.
Does it paid off in Thunderbolts? No.
Do you want the juicy spoilers?
Yeah, I mean,
About the power broker.
It's Power Broker.
Have you been waiting for the power broker return?
They set her up.
I completely forgot about this character until reading this list. If that's any indication for you in the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
I mean,
Power Broker.
Sharon Carter brought in Winter Soldier, starting a romance with Cap in Civil War. Then in Falcon and Winter Soldier, turns villain because she's bitter towards Steve Rogers for hooking back up with Peggy.
Totally.
I don't know if you guys know that was part of the motivation.
Totally a normal plot.
She was
turn.
like, how dare he time travel back in time? That was mine. And but they set her up as the power broker, this big villain, and haven't heard jack shit about it.
4 years ago.
I thought it would be in Thunderbolts. I thought they would actually pay that off.
I think
I thought Hawkeye.
Hawkeye. I think Thunderbolts is a sequel to the two properties you think it is. In my opinion, Falcon Winter Soldier and Black Widow. But it is also, I think, very intentionally being like, we got to do our own thing. So I think her not being included might have been because it was a show.
Who is the power broker in the comics?
Basically a big entity like Kingpin, not quite to Kingpin scale, but someone that is like behind the scenes machinations and like running stuff and like
important
in crime. I'd say medium important.
Okay.
Like on the scale of like The Rose or like Black Tarantula.
What is the potential the power broker has then?
I would say the power broker is one of those characters that and this is no disrespect because we're fixing a lot of built-in 50s and 60s misogyny, but to me the power broker felt like they were like, we don't have enough female villains, and like made the character have a villainous arc. And I feel like they would need to not have that be the only reason she's the power broker. Like, I need her to have a plot. You know what I mean? Like, not just be. So what I would do with the power broker would be to have kind of like Baron Zemo, an arc that feels like some redemption, but then there's a betrayal at the end. Like you need to actually, she needs a dance scene, but like have a sequence where Sharon Carter is working on a clandestine mission, a la Thunderbolts, where it's a bunch of people that aren't good guys, but they're not bad guys, and then have her end up betraying them. Like you need to give her some flesh on the meat of the story besides just like, I'm bad now. So like Power Broker could be someone pulling the strings and supplying Chitauri weapons. Like I would make her a Chitauri weapons dealer and someone that is dealing maybe with the stones. Like maybe she has like I would give her some power to broker and also give her some context of why she's evil now.
Okay.
That's what I do.
That is true. Yeah, probably some context would be helpful.
Some storytelling.
Yeah, because they did just drop.
She's like, oh, by the way, that thing you've been waiting to find out who it is. Hi. No arc to get there at all.
So it seems like we've okay. So far, there's a pattern here. Mordo, villain, don't follow through. Matt Gargan, Scorpion, villain, don't follow through.
Power Broker,
villain, don't follow through.
What's next?
What's next?
Well, get ready, gang. The next one is a dual one. So, you're half right. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, another 2021 release. You have the scene in which Katie and Shang-Chi are introduced to Bruce Banner and Captain Marvel alongside Wong in hologram mode to analyze the Ten Rings. And there is the scene where Xialing assumes the leadership of the Ten Rings organization, and therein is your villain.
Well, they are following that up, right? Aren't they doing like a 10 Rings thingy?
I've been waiting, Greg.
Aren't they doing like a 10 Ring show or something?
I've been waiting. They said they were.
I thought they were. Well, they're doing a Shang-Chi too, and she was such.
They said they were.
Aren't they?
Yeah, but like what the last time we heard?
They have to.
It's 2025, Greg. To me, I thought the plan was going to be Shang-Chi into Shang-Chi 2 into Kang Dynasty. I thought the arc was going to be like how Captain America and Iron Man led into the Avengers films. I thought Shang-Chi was going to be leading into Kang Dynasty because Destin Daniel Cretton was directing it at the time. I feel like when Kang Dynasty went away, Shang-Chi went real different. Like I feel like we might not get that until after Secret Wars, which I don't know if we get anything of the old guard.
There was a rumored, Ten Rings Xialing-oriented spinoff, at least rumored, but it's the current speculation that this will be folded into whatever becomes Shang-Chi 2, The Wreckage of Time, or whatever they wind up calling that.
Well, I wouldn't write that one off.
Because of how people love Shang-Chi, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, and I feel like to get a sequel is still I'm incredibly optimistic they'll still get a sequel. It came out during a time when theaters were struggling, and it did pretty good for the circumstances.
And it's a good movie.
It's a good movie. People really liked it. It was a good movie, and so I think it'll actually. I think that will get paid off.
Yeah, I think, and that's only 4 years ago.
I think what is already skipped over is the Beacon, is what the thing with Bruce Banner hologram and Captain, because I think that was supposed to be tied into whatever the Marvels was or something with Kang, and I think that for sure is dropped.
I think Kang invented the 10 rings, and that was going to be an element. I think that was going to be tying in the rings to Kang, and that was going to pay off in Shang-Chi 2 setting up Kang Dynasty. I felt like he was involved in the rings in some way, and now I don't know.
And that was a really cool post-credit scene.
Yeah.
I think out of the 4 that we've listed so far, I mean, that's not a great post-credit scene, but the excitement of Scorpion coming is really cool to me. And so I really wish they would just do it.
Yeah.
In fact, a Brand New Day, he'd be a great villain for Brand New Day.
He's a small, like, to not cosmic scale villain.
Yeah, he'd be a formidable foe.
Yeah.
And that post-credit scene is, I think, a great one. You know, when you do see them all together, because there is an intrigue. It is something that has like a bit of, there's an aura of mystery and tension to it, where we want to know, like, what is this calling? What's it teasing?
It's
what's
not
it
just a character
to?
showing up; it's storytelling.
It's
Got,
ominous.
yeah.
Yeah. So I wish it would get paid off. I do worry though that they have dropped the 10 Rings plot though.
Remember when Wong was just recruiting everybody?
Yeah.
There was like 5 post-credit scenes. Wong was like, come through this portal.
That's what I mean. It's like, I feel like we're past whatever happened there already. I think in the timeline of stuff, it's already been canned, and now we're not going to follow up on whatever that is. But that is something where I think it has to be acknowledged. I
also,
think
2021 of it all is a problem.
That should be answered, though.
I think that one might.
Out of all of them, that we've talked about so far, that one should be the one that gets answered.
That's the first one I think we'll actually get a payoff
There's
for.
too many people
Scorpion as well, maybe, but
Yeah, Scorpion is there's a lot of unjust stuff about that.
all right. What's Wong do
Justice
next?
for Scorpion. Also, we move along into another 2021 film and Coy's favorite Marvel film, #1 of all time, Eternals, in which you have both Eros and Pip the Troll offering to assist the Eternals, as well as Dane Whitman discovering the Ebony Blade and Mahershala
Remember
Ali
Blade?
whispering into frame.
That may be the most egregious of them all. Is we haven't seen either of those people in the last one at all.
It outside of Kingo, it seems like they're pretty dead set on like hiding the Eternals from people.
That movie's so good.
But Kingo is
And Tiamat.
Oh yeah,
And-
Cap gave us Tiamat back.
that is true. But in terms of like the actual Eternals characters, Kingo is the one they seem like they love acknowledging Kingo. They love Kingo, but everyone else kind of not so much. It is pretty wild that you get Harry Styles,
At the height of his powers.
international superstar Harry
Yeah.
Styles. That post-credit scene with the one Hollywood Reporter, Variety, whichever one, that when they did the article about it, it was so big of an announcement that they leaked it.
Yeah.
You know, that they just spoiled it because they had to know this is huge. In fact, that kind of is bigger than anything of the movie
Yeah.
itself in terms of what led to conversation and stuff and the future of that and the fact that it's Thanos' brother. There's so many things to there that I still feel like they could venture off it. Maybe they won't. They're probably not going to do Eternals 2 ever, but
It'd be good to see him in Doomsday.
it'd be cool. Yeah, they're not even Doomsday. Oh my God, it just hit me right now. They're not even fucking Doomsday.
I think we get to see Harry Styles' chair or the equivalent in the next batch of announcements.
I 100% would hope for that.
Because
at
people would
least.
lose their minds.
They
Because the
would.
visual of it, like I could see it. That's such a pop. Also, like you have an Angelina Jolie Marvel movie and you're not doing anything with, like that's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of wild that we're not doing anything with the Eternals, but that post-credit scene in particular is one that I think they could do like their own movie with that character. They don't even need to do like Eternals 2 or something.
It's a crazy Jim Starlin character.
I
It's
know-
such an interesting character.
I know Thor: Love and Thunder isn't beloved. I'm thinking though that they could do their own thing where they do acknowledge the events of the. You know how Thor: Love and Thunder starts off with him with the Guardians, like,
Oh, yeah.
well, we have to include this and we got to get it out of the way.
Gotta go.
I think they could do something like that with Eternals too.
They might.
Because it lends itself to an air of comedy with Harry Styles. Oh my God, what the hell's his name? Star Fox.
Yeah.
It lends itself to a certain air of comedy, especially in the way how it looks like he's portraying it with the little Harry Styles
Swagger
suave.
and yeah. I mean, he's like a sex god. Like he's a character with some like that'd be interesting,
yeah, I think they could
especially
get
in
the thing.
Marvel. But then again, we saw clavicles and people clutch their pearls. We
Yeah.
can't have this in the Marvel
Yeah,
universe.
yeah.
So how would you even play him if we're so like? But maybe that's why we haven't gotten more of it. It did feel adult oriented without being like it's an adult centric thing. It didn't do as well.
This is the problem with the interconnectivity that we were talking about.
a different
because
tone.
Eternals is a property that cannot be dismissed like a power broker.
Yeah.
You know, like you can hide a lot of shit that we're talking about and be like, yeah, oh my God, I totally forgot about that. You know, but Eternals is a whole realm of celestial being and cosmos and gods.
Something was born of the earth. Like it
Yes.
has a moment. It's huge.
It's huge, and there was build up to getting the Eternals, and it's a giant pantheon of characters, and one that is supposed to interconnect with Blade, and the cast is so huge. Eternals in a lot of ways is like Marvel's Dark Universe. The way how the Dark Universe launched as we got a franchise on our hands and we got something huge to offer y'all. We got a new logo. And dead on arrival.
12 characters in Eternals.
And Eternals,
silenced.
Yeah, Eternals has that weird mark where it's strange how they just want us to forget about it, and then they do random shit to remind us about it.
Like what if?
Like Tiamat hand
King Cap finally, yeah.
and the Kingo appearances, but yet it seems like they're disregarding some major developments and implications
Yeah.
that don't seem like they're going to be acknowledged at all.
I feel like to have Doomsday be impactful, it's going to be hard to be an X-Men movie bringing the Fantastic Four, all of the Avengers, And it's like it's I think they want to throw as much at Secret Wars as they can. They might save any Eternals cameos for that. And it won't be a story-based thing. It'll be like, they're here to help fight.
Yeah, but people were like taken to be judged at the end of it. And
That'll be like Thor, where it's like, we're back.
Yeah, looking to be rescued as well. And Sprite probably aged up a lot, the actress.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I mean the Dane Whitman one though, that's definitely
Blade's, blading along. Blade.
I don't understand.
Supposed to come out last year and this year.
Blade is so straightforward.
Hey, he's a vampire hunter.
It's the most straightforward shit you can make.
He's
What if the only words ever uttered by Mahershala Ali's Blade are, "Sure you're ready for that, Mr. Whitman," and that's all we ever get of him?
God, I hope he had a good retainer. I hope they paid that man to not, because like that he's such a good actor. We just haven't had enough of because of that. Like he's finally got a movie this summer in Jurassic Park. I think that's his first movie since The Green Book. I think he won an Oscar and hasn't had a movie in 5 years.
I'll say though, I'm not a fan of that movie. I mean, like we've talked extensively about it and had very long conversations.
The Green Book?
Yeah, the Green Book especially. Yeah, it's chicken wings. Oh.
Let's get more of that impression.
I was waiting for more.
I don't even remember what he sounds
I've
like.
never seen The Green Book,
Yeah,
so I was ready to experience The Green Book.
It's the most over the top, like. All I remember from it is him being like Viggo Mortensen's so good at it, but he's so like over the top.
He does have that guy in a New York Italian restaurant accent.
Yeah, it is so accentuated. And maybe that's the person's based on a real person, so maybe that's how they sounded. I would love though for them to actually follow up with some type of I don't think you should call it Eternals 2. I think you should call it Eternals subtitle. And whatever that is, I think would be great. I think they absolutely deserve a second shot.
I love their first movie, like unironically. It's one of the ones I defend so loudly the director took notice. So I couldn't have been a lot of us.
And Multicon, a fan came up to you and I, and was like, "Oh, and Coy, by the way, I'm one of the people too. Like you, like I actually love Eternals. I'm sorry, Greg. You're gonna be sorry to me for about that.
But I like that it's such a small group. Someone's like, I am one. I am amongst this little club.
I know. Like I'm not gonna shit on you for liking Eternals.
How dare you?
I think it deserves a sequel. I think they, in some capacity, beyond funny Kingo appearances.
Yes,
I think it
the
deserves
actual
a sequel.
cast.
Yeah.
I mean, I even just like a few of the characters that aren't often. There's so much potential with those characters. And like Paperboy, give him his justice.
I can't believe you got Kid Harington in there, and you can't. It's crazy. Wow. I did not expect
to power up.
I didn't expect to spend so much time on this, man. But yeah, it is fucking nuts. Wow.
Nuckin' futs. We'll get what else is nuts. We're moving into the year of the most prolific unpaid post-credit scenes. There are 5 in 2022 as we move into from Eternals to Moon Knight.
Before you say them, this is what I was talking about. I think this is why we see Phase 4 and 5 as lesser. It's not just the movies, because if you look at Phase 5, in my opinion, it's half great, half good or under. It's all 5 post-credit scenes in 1 year causes a lack of faith in the brand.
All right, let's hear it.
Moon Knight being the first. Khonshu introduces Mark and Steven to Jake Lockley, their third alter, who eliminates Arthur Harrow.
So is Moon Knight Season 2 happening?
I mean, Jake Lockley is the biggest Moon Knight character, and the fact that they set him up to not, I hope so.
Yeah, that's why it was exciting to see him.
Yeah, but Oscar Isaac said it was happening and was like in Egypt, like, yeah, we're doing another one 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's planned for Moon Knight to return to the MCU in some form, but there is no current plan for a second season.
Wow.
Yeah, which is surprising to say the least.
And that was one of the better ones.
Yeah. And that's with the guys that just ran Daredevil. Like, that was Justin and Aaron and Mohamed Diab. Like, Mohamed Diab didn't work on Daredevil, but I liked both sets of directors.
I think their ending notes on their Disney Plus shows have very big impact, though. You know, that's the problem with those Disney Plus shows is a lot of them can be a great ride. And if they botch their finale, that's what you leave people with.
That's what I'm saying. You leave the restaurant fight and you're not remembering the spaghetti.
Yeah, then you feel like there's a stain on the experience now, because a lot of people seem to forget that penultimate episode was
one of the best episodes
of
Disney Plus
psychologically challenging episodes ever of
but
Disney
then
Plus.
Kaiju's fought.
Yeah,
and we're like, all right,
cliche. Yeah, I remember that. I think that was the only episode I didn't like. Was the finale.
I remember we were loving Moon Knight, and we were like, this is one of the best Disney Plus shows. And then within a few months, we were like, It's Moon Knight. And like weird part of that. Like I don't think highly of Moon Knight overall. I think highly of the experience of watching Moon Knight, but I'm not like I want to rewatch Moon Knight.
Yeah, it's fucking. You got Oscar Isaac.
Yeah,
on your hands.
incredible
You got
work.
Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Who's dead now, but you had Ethan Hawke.
He was great. Not the actor.
No, not the actor, but the character. Wow. That is kind of boggling my mind now.
That post-credit scene was such a great setup.
Because it's like as we're doing this, my thoughts are zigzagging because it brings me back to not just the post-credit scene. Every single one of these has been making me go back to the anticipation of the property.
Yeah.
The lead up to the property, then experiencing the
All
property.
the press we did.
Then the post. Yeah, exactly.
Like every trailer for Moon Knight, like
Every
we'd
Moon
get up
Knight,
at
yeah.
6 a.m. and be at your old place, just like, all right, Moon Knight.
yeah.
And I'd be so excited for those 2 minutes. And then the last episode, like,
And it was a great week-to-week experience and cultural
Mystery.
infusion and mystery with great, like a brilliant acting by Oscar Isaac with a supernatural-like character who could fit into
the Werewolf by Night stuff and with like the things that Doctor Strange could have led into. And
Exactly.
also I'd say it and WandaVision are the two biggest like She-Hulk commentary things
I'm
where
gonna-
it's like the last beat's just punching.
I'm sorry, Coy. Totally forgetting the Midnight
Midnight
Suns.
Suns.
Midnight
Yep,
Suns. Yeah.
that is definitely a Midnight Suns start.
Exactly, and the wonders that they could pull off if they just did a Midnight Suns. If they just
Yeah.
announced that shit, and then you get Moon Knight in there, you can even throw Blade in there. I feel like that might be a downplay for
TBD.
Mahershala Ali, but to go from that to a TV show, but you could do a movie. They just
Yeah.
pulled it off with Thunderbolts. You could do a
Yeah,
Midnight
you could
Suns
totally.
movie.
Yeah, 100%. Call
damn.
them Dark Avengers.
So, do you think we'll get a payoff to that? Like, what is the metric then that quantifies it as a success to stick around? And TV shows have less impact. Like, if you did, it's easier to sell people. I think it's easier to sell people on an Eternals 2, which is not as liked as Moon Knight, than it is to sell people and get the butts to go watch Moon Knight season 2 than it is to watch. You know how the sentence is supposed to end.
Also, the nature
Get
of
those butts watching.
Yeah, get those butts
Yeah.
watching. But also the nature of the post-credit scene you're speaking to specifically, you can't have the Jake Lockley payoff be in a movie. Because then you're just
No.
like, oh, there's 3 of us now, fight. Like, it has
Yeah.
to be an ongoing story. Like,
Yeah.
Jake Lockley's not going to have impact in Doomsday.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna be like, it's Moon Knight. They're not going to care. So, like, it has to be a show. So that's a lot of time and money to set aside. I don't think that one gets paid off, unfortunately.
That really sucks.
Because I love Jake Lockley. I love Moon Knight. I love Oscar Isaac.
And and you're right about the personalities.
He's
Jake
the big
Lockley
one.
is the biggest personality.
which is why I was so
we kept
bold.
wondering when Jake Lockley's going to come in. When's he going to come in? And it's smart to save him and
Because it
tease
was
him.
and that was when Marvel was really like, we're going to make 3 seasons in a movie.
And I thought the show was huge.
Yeah.
Was it not huge? I thought
I
it was
mean,
huge.
I thought the numbers were good. I think it was the first one to get a Blu-ray release because it was like so big. I think, but I could be
Yeah, and it
wrong
was
there.
like cinematic flourishes. And,
Yeah.
and is that the first Justin and Aaron show?
in Marvel.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, that was that. Like they started with Marvel because they're so psychedelically like crazy visuals.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Damn.
No Jake Lockley.
That's not going to get paid off, is it? That sucks.
Yeah, 1 of 5 that year.
I think they could pay it off. I think they should. I would love for them to do a sequel, man. I really would. Even if it was a special.
I'd love a special presentation of Jake Lockley and Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Like that's something maybe.
And that's like a character that would be so cool to see interact with, like Daredevil.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh man. Defender show special presentation after Punisher.
They're on to something with their streets department in Marvel. With Daredevil Born Again,
Street level.
Yeah, street level. I think Daredevil Born Again has reset the stage for what they can do. And the fact that they are going to be having the Punisher special, they already have season 2 in the works, already like almost done shooting. This is their opportunity now if they want to bring back a Moon Knight.
Thunderbolts it also feels beautifully like the right direction.
Okay, I believe that. Johnny? Damn, that really sucks.
I think it's the one that's impacted you most.
I didn't expect this to sadden me today.
Remember payoffs not paying off?
Get ready, because this next one is perhaps one of the most sad and most cathartic because it's a dual post credits.
Uh-oh.
And it's also from 2022. We get both the freeing of Pizza Poppa as well as the introduction of Clea, Charlize Theron in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
I could not believe that Pizza Poppa got his own post-credit scene, and I'm now hearing it am even more incredulous that, like, I like Sam Raimi a lot. And like the post-credit scene thing of it has to be huge is in part the fans' fault. But Pizza Poppa was something people waited for, and I just felt like the Captain America meme, like that him turning the chair around. I was like, okay. And then when Clea showed up, and I was like, but the third eye, it's gone. So no stakes. Okay, Clea, sure.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the ending with the third eye.
God!
I was like, what is Coy talking about right now? Yeah. Oh
He was
my
in
God.
all that pain. It was like an actual ramification because magic has a
It
cost.
should have ended there.
Yeah. You should have.
It should have ended there, or had your post-credit scene back to
Have
that
the
ending.
third eye. It's I'm sure expensive, but not that expensive. The whole point is that magic has a cost, and he can't just blend into the world. Clea's here. He's fine.
Benedict Cumberbatch is not on the list for Doomsday, right?
Not that we saw.
I mean, he has to be in Secret Wars, but yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, like that third eye thing is as much of a post credit scene as it gets, actually, even though it's not.
It's like the ending moment of like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And that's why I think they had Pizza Poppa, is because it's like, okay, we're going to leave it on high stakes. But then the other post-credit scene is not.
I think the Clea's post credit scene is awful.
It's so tonally all over the place. And like that's the appearance of Charlize Theron in the MCU.
I don't think she knows who the character is in that. I don't think they know who the character is.
They just put her in purple.
I think it looks like cosplay.
It feels like a Power Rangers cutscene.
Yeah,
like
it
an
does.
old Bryan Cranston Power Rangers.
Like it's emotionless.
Yeah.
And there's no momentum. It's confused on what tone they're trying to convey. So like, let's be in somewhere in the middle where they're going on an adventure. But it
and it's
doesn't.
lit like a bad set. Like the whole thing.
It doesn't excite you. There's nothing really compelling about it for a character where, I mean, you got Charlize Theron, Oscar-winning Charlize Theron.
In her franchise era. So she's happy to be here.
Yeah,
she's doing
great.
fast movies. She's doing Marvel movies. Like, it's not like that's the problem.
Yeah, she can do all genres.
Yeah.
So she's not the problem, but yeah, that post credit scene though was not a good one that I could totally see though being. It's weird. I keep saying that like I could see it being
Charlize
paid
Theron's
off.
the lead of Doomsday.
Charlize Theron and Benedict Cumberbatch in a Doctor Strange movie.
Also, you need magic.
I mean, come on, man. How cool would that be?
You need magic for Doomsday, though. So maybe she does get her time. Because you're going to need a Clea type figure.
Well, I think they are going to undoubtedly do a Doctor Strange dream. Multiverse of Madness was a hit.
One of the biggest of Phase 4.
And people love the Doctor Strange character. In the What If series, isn't he like the only one
In all 3 seasons. He's kind of like the through line.
Is he in the 3rd season?
No, wait, no. Just 2 seasons. You're right.
But he was his character. But I'm saying it's Benedict Cumberbatch who's playing him too. And with Benedict Cumberbatch being the one to play him in even the animated show, and how huge of his alt version was for fans, and huge his main version is, and then to be in Infinity War where he's one of the biggest moments. You know? I think they will do a Doctor Strange 3. I guess the question is, will they follow through on this plot setup when we've already seen in this conversation that they're willing to totally can original sequel ideas.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll can another sequel idea and not even acknowledge it, or maybe just dismiss it.
And that's what made the mess with Scarlet Witch, is they didn't follow Doctor Strange 1. So will they not follow Doctor Strange 2? And what's Sam Raimi doing? Anyway. Yeah, that's a big one.
It was like, the thing is, as we're talking, the problem with these post-credit scenes too is, as we're talking about it, we start so much talking about interconnectivity at the beginning, is that I don't even see how these all like tether together,
Right.
and into the same like universe, or what culmination it's supposed to build into in some way.
Because I really think the Kang thing threw them so much. I think they really had a big plan. I think they had a really big plan before the pandemic, and then the pandemic threw off a lot of stuff. And then I think the Kang thing threw off whatever they solved. Like, I feel like they were like, okay, we fixed it. And then like the Kang thing is like, nope. And so, because the pandemic messed up so many shows and movies. And then the Kang situation, they were like, we got to do all this over here. And then the writer strike didn't help.
Reject Nation, the basketball playoffs are heating up. And if you want to turn your takes into something real, you've got to check out Prize Picks, our go-to in the daily fantasy sports world. If you've never tried it, here's how it works. It's relatively simple. You pick 2 to 6 players, and you guess whether or not they'll get more or less than the stat line Prize Picks sets, like Luka for more than 28 points, or Tatum for more than 8 rebounds. Basketball terminology. It's that simple. If your picks hit, you win. Even my dumb noggin can keep up with that. And the more picks that you string together, the more money you can make. up to 1,000 times your entry. And what's cool is it's not just basketball. You can mix and match players across different sports like baseball, football, hockey, even esports. It's like building your own custom bet, but it's all based on player stats and you're in full control. Plus, they invented something called Flex Play, which means even if one of your picks misses, you can still win cash. And payouts are super fast. I've seen it hit in under 15 minutes. So here's what you can do. You can download the app today and use code REJECTS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's code REJECTS, $50 instantly after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
What's next, John?
Alrighty, continuing the streak of 2022, Thor, Love and Thunder. Zeus dispatches Hercules to confront Thor, and Jane Foster arrives in Valhalla, greeted by Heimdall.
The fact that Chris Hemsworth is in Avengers Doomsday makes me go, I don't think they are going to pay this off. Because what? They would just skip over this, unless, of course, they have his adventure in Doomsday, and then Secret Wars, and then they do a Thor 5, where they then follow through with this. I don't know if they would do that.
He's been advocating for a Thor 5 so much. I don't know if that happens, but I know he wants a totally different tone, less comedic, etc.
I would hate. I think that'd be amazing. I would hate for it to end on Thor: Love and Thunder because of the reception.
Yeah, same.
I think he absolutely, for the work
He's been there from the
that
beginning. He
character,
deserves.
He deserves a solid one to go out on.
And post Mad Max, I want to see more of him.
Yeah, part of my concern is that they're going to kill him off in like Secret Wars or something.
Yeah, to be like, mistakes.
Yeah, but the fact that he is in those movies also makes me heavily doubt that they're going to follow through with this.
I think Hercules shows up.
You think Hercules will be
I
in
think
Doomsday?
Brett Goldstein pops up in Secret Wars or Doomsday.
And does what?
Fights.
He just fights?
Yes. I don't feel like they'll make Hercules the big bad of 5 if they make it, but I feel like they'll be like, we have all these post-credit scenes, sandbox fight. Like, I feel like that's what's going to happen with a lot of these characters.
I don't understand why they did that post-credit scene, too. I'm slowly recalling when Brett Goldstein talked about getting that role.
Like weeks out.
Yeah, not having really any idea what it was and what they're doing, and then he has to show up and just shoot this thing with very little information. That's how Charlize Theron's Doctor Strange scene feels.
This era feels like people standing up and saying they're blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Which is what I was saying at the top is not how you post-credit scene.
Like how when Captain Marvel, she had to do, I forget, did she do this, the scene in Infinity War? There was some scene she shot first. It wasn't Infinity War.
I think she was in a movie before. Yeah, Infinity War before Captain Marvel.
They had a scene. I remember she had a scene where it's in the Captain Marvel post scene. And did she shoot that first?
Yeah, I think that, and then like before anything.
Yeah.
And it's like we don't know the character yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, well, all right.
They throw the actors into like tough, like interesting conundrums when they have to like figure out timeline and who their characters are.
What's your backstory? I just got it. I just got the script.
Yeah. Because everything with line reading and acting comes down to backstory and intent, everything behind the words.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying the words and feeling the moment or some shit.
Lived experience is what you need to feel from the actor. And if they haven't lived it yet.
Yeah. And it's different. Like voice acting, I would say requires the same caliber, but you can manipulate more if you're just doing voice acting, where you can do multiple takes and you can blend it together in the editing versus something like that. And that's why I think the Charlize Theron one feels flat. Weirdly, the Brie Larson one didn't feel flat at all, though, on that post-credit scene, I think, when she first encounters the Avengers.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Hercules one, highly doubt that's going to come true. I don't think it's going to happen.
Just no Brett Goldstein.
Well, I mean, what's Doom supposed to be at in this level of the game? Is he a god?
I assume they're just going to jump there. I think they're going to do God Emperor Doom way too quickly. I think by the end of the movie, he's a god. I think he's going to take Thanos' spine out and do that comic moment. And they're going to be like, he's a big bad. And then they'll be like, oh, tight.
I'm really trying not to get further pessimistic about it.
Hey, you know what? The Russo brothers are making an Avengers movie. It comes out next year. I'm excited about those words.
Me too, Coy.
Those are the words I'm excited about, and those are the words I'm going to choose to hold on to. Avengers movie. 11 and a half months.
I'm reading Fantastic Four comics, and every time Doom appears,
he's so impactful, dude. He's so important. He's one of my favorite villains.
I know, and I think it feels to me the issue. Okay, I'm going to go into it.
You're doing it, Greg. You said you didn't want to.
To me, like a little Doom rant here of my concern is when I hate certain time jumps and how TV shows sometimes handle them. When I feel like, well, we miss so much like plot and character development because of this time jump. And I think that's how it feels with Doctor Doom being the main big baddie who will bring us all these characters together. And then Secret Wars, the very next movie, feels like we're totally skipping over why it feels so cool when Doom gets to that point in Secret Wars in the comics.
Decades.
Where you watch a dude literally rise to this power, and mainly starting off via the personal animosity and vendetta with the Fantastic Four. And watching how his further influences into the world, like I'm in that arc right now where they're like, the Inhumans should be banned. The hell with the Inhumans. And he's offering a land for where the Inhumans can stay. And there's polarizing opinions. I'm like, oh, these like political machinations that Dr. Doom's pulling off. And
him being a dictator of Latveria is fascinating.
Yeah.
I could watch a Doom movie before I watch Doom and all of the Avengers.
Yeah. And I think it's a time, it feels like they're skipping over a lot of stuff. It's not the same as, we've already seen this person's origin a bunch. We don't need to see it. I'm like, it goes far beyond that. We don't even need to see the origin, really. It would be nice to, but we don't even need to see the origin. Even if you skip only the origin, you are skipping over so much stuff that gets to him being God Emperor.
You could do 3 phases on Doom.
Yes.
3 phases. He could be the back of all things, and instead it's like, it's happening next year.
And I think honestly, if RDJ was coming back for that, if they wanted to actually commit to their Elseworlds instead of rushing to their culmination Avengers movie because they need an Avengers movie or something, we could have really rebuilt it up with like a few Fantastic Four movies.
Dude, 10 appearances of Downey as Doom, I'd be so much more excited for than 2.
Imagine how rewarding it would be to have like 2 Fantastic Four movies that are not connected to the main timeline.
Yeah, and then they come into ours, and then that's
God.
special. And now, like about a year ago, when you and I did the first like sit down, Diary was like a while back. When you asked me about Downey and Doom, that was like one of the first clips we clipped out of me being like, "This is why I'm stressed." Now that you're reading the character, does that make more sense for
Absolutely,
because he's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I'm done with that.
Next up is a thick boy. And a thick lady. It's a She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. We had a big medley of post-credit scenes, which include the humorous moments such as Jennifer Walters assisting her family, Wong's friendship with Madison with a Y, but not where you think, and a dance sequence with Megan Thee Stallion. Wong also breaks Emil Blonsky out of prison, taking him to Camartage.
Oh my God, Emil Blonsky, and then we have the son of all the stuff at the dinner. Scar.
Wouldn't it be crazy if Emil Blonsky was in Captain America for any reason because Hulks were all up in there? Or wouldn't it have been crazy? I mean, guys.
Wong seems like he's building up something with Shang-Chi.
Yep.
With Emil Blonsky. Seems like he's building up his own little inner team.
Another
too.
team, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been a little bit.
Wongers, and I think that would be pretty sweet, actually, if they did pull that off. All these alternate versions of Hulk because we can't seem to get our Hulk to be angry Hulk.
So we have to have angry
Red
Hulks.
Hulk. Let's have Abomination. Yeah.
We'll have Kid Hulk.
Maybe
Hulkling.
Yeah, we'll have Kid Hulk here. Yeah.
She-Hulk, Kid Hulk, Red Hulk.
Yeah, all the other Hulks except for the actual Hulk. But maybe that I'm saying but this whole episode. Anyway, yeah. That sounds that's disappointing. You think Scar will come back?
No. Megan Thee Stallion, though.
They made it a joke. They just made it a joke when that's like a big character.
Yeah. And I mean, it's tricky because Hulk is one of the only characters where I'm like, I don't feel like we've had Hulk for a while. And I was okay with Smart Hulk for a bit, but like it's been too long. I feel like Professor Hulk has served his purpose.
I think She-Hulk that's the problem with She-Hulk, though, is it has the ability to kind of make fun of all the setups. The fact that they're doing this.
Yeah.
And be self-parodying about it. With like, we're just tossing this in here because we're fucking Marvel.
That's the danger of Deadpool and She-Hulk.
It's the joke, right? But then it goes, well, are you just disposed of them?
Yeah.
Then?
Are they not relevant?
Are they not going to factor in now to the actual canon and further stuff?
And with that reception, I don't know if those scenes will ever matter.
I mean, he literally gets a son.
Yeah. And like the Hulk is a major character in She-Hulk, and it's like not considered when people talk about the MCU.
And we haven't heard jack shit about Bruce Banner's
In
further
Doomsday.
anymore in Doomsday or Secret
Yeah.
Wars, and Mark Ruffalo's been real tight-lipped about it all as well.
For the first time in his career.
I know, right? Especially for this. Remember when he Instagrammed to start live when he was at the premiere of the screening of which one was it? Thor Ragnarok?
I think Thor Ragnarok. Like 20 minutes of the movie. Have you ever seen the clip of him revealing that everyone dies in Endgame
Yeah.
with Don Cheadle?
Yeah.
Oh, wait till you see the next one. Everyone dies in that one. Like, how does that pass your brain? It's so crazy.
And it seemed like a sarcastic bit
Yeah.
that they were doing, and then when you watch it and recontextualize,
Oh, yeah.
you're like,
I never saw the clip before the movie.
oh yeah, I saw
I
the clip
didn't
before
see
the
it until
movie.
after that. I was like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
And like Don Cheadle's like, and
Well,
yeah.
it's one of those where it's like absurd enough to be a joke, but
Yeah.
also when you know it's real, you're like, dude, what are you doing?
It is so much worse knowing it's
Yeah.
real. But yeah,
Okay.
Mark Ruffalo learned PR.
Scar. I mean, Daredevil Born Again doesn't even acknowledge his outside of the suit. Doesn't acknowledge Jennifer.
Yeah.
Well, I thought they had great chemistry.
I loved their chemistry.
I watched someone on YouTube uploaded all like the Daredevil scenes from She-Hulk, and I watched all that, and I forgot how fun Charlie Cox was in that.
So charming.
And how seamlessly he worked for such a serious ass show and character. How
Yeah.
seamlessly he worked into this different tone, and how great his chemistry was with Jennifer Walters. And I wish they would acknowledge it or do something with it. I would like her to. I would like a She-Hulk season 2 so Daredevil could be in that. But I don't see how She-Hulk could be in Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah, I also think that episode of Daredevil Born Again that was apparently in the original was an interesting look into what the Daredevil in a show that could have tied into She-Hulk would have felt like. When it was going to be like, shorter form, a little more sitcom-y. It was interesting to see that show, like that episode, and be like, I guess maybe that's how you go back into She-Hulk. But now it's like so dark, I can't see She-Hulk with him.
I think the Incredible Hulk is this weird dark horse in Marvel. I don't even know if I'm using that term properly. What does that mean?
Dark horse is like the underdog, like the one that wins that you don't expect, like the dark horse in the race.
Wrong choice of words then.
Also a great comic company.
They are. That's why I was trying to infuse it. Okay. They are a bit of a black sheep, I would say.
The opposite of a dark horse.
Yes, because they bring in Abomination finally back.
Yeah.
And what happens there? Just how many people genuinely remember the specifics of what happens with Abomination, right?
Yeah.
Can you recall? I don't even.
I thought they were going to pay off the blood. Remember, they were like trying to get She-Hulk's blood, and there was something with Abomination and the She-Hulk blood and all
she
that.
like represented him or some shit.
I thought that was going to tie into Captain America.
Yeah, see, it doesn't sound like Captain America. Captain America ends up being this like weird Hulk sequel.
And how
with-
do you not use the blood thing?
Yeah.
They
the
set
blood thing.
up the thing and
Exactly.
Cap didn't use it.
Thunderbolt Ross brought back, and so much of I bet he doesn't like me, and I bet he doesn't believe I could change every few lines. And then you finally bring Betty back.
Yeah.
Who is Bruce Banner's ex-girlfriend?
Also, you bring back Betty Ross from a movie 18 years ago with a new Thunderbolt Ross and like try to let that be fine. No Bruce Banner to speak of. And you give her one scene to try to be like impactful.
Yeah. You pay out. They bring the leader in, Samuel Stern. You bring the leader in. And this, they've had this thing where they're trying to bring back Hulk franchise or weird adjacent sequels.
Yeah, I think that's over now.
And it's had a rough road, unfortunately. These Incredible Hulk follow-ups.
I feel like everything involving Hulk has a different like negative connotation, like Scar and She-Hulk and Captain America 4. It's interesting how that's like
all of it,
kind of universally.
even Hulk is less loved.
Yeah.
I'm not I would love Angry Hulk again.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie though, man. I do love fucking Smart Hulk.
Professor Hulk, I think he has his purpose, but I think we've done it.
I think Mark Ruffalo is just so good at
He's
him.
so good at it.
He's great, and in Endgame, I loved him in that.
But man,
yeah,
that first Avengers,
I do miss the
way
ferocity.
Hulk, I think he looked better in the first Avengers. I think that's the best looking Hulk
Definitely.
we've had, which is crazy.
I mean,
because they gave their
I-
artist time then.
I think the final fight in Hulk, in the Incredible Hulk, they shot that on location, on real sets and stuff, and makes a massive world of difference. And I loved that. But it made me love the whole movie.
Yeah.
But then every time I rewatch it, I'm like, oh yeah, I only like I really love like scenes in this movie. But the
Yeah.
ending note is so good that I forget about, oh yeah, there's a lot of this journey that I'm not like super engaged by, but that ending fight, genius.
One of the things I like about Thunderbolts so much, again, not a spoiler, is it's super practical.
Oh yeah,
And that to me was so dope to be watching something and be like, oh, we can still do this?
Yeah.
They still let them? Because I feel like so much is on the volume, so much is on these green screens, so much is this. And to watch a movie that felt like a movie, that didn't feel like a show that's long, like it felt so real and tangible. It made me hopeful that that's what they also are aware of going forward, is building stuff.
It's funny, like Andor season 2. I didn't know this. There's actual. I learned this from a Screen Crush video. Like there's certain locations, like certain locations in Coruscant, where like, oh, this is actually a location in Italy.
Apparently, the Senate is a real place, and I literally
Yeah.
thought they were making it look like Hall H at Comic-Con because all the lattices and the wide. I thought it was Hall H,
Yeah,
and they're
they're
like, no, that's a real place. I was like, what?
Their exteriors, a lot of their exteriors are popular locations,
insane.
and then they digital over some of it. But they're using actual locations instead of the volume.
More of that.
It's been insane to watch that show and have the inverse experience where you see a beautiful landscape and you're like, oh, but I can kind of see how this would be a volume. And then you watch Andor season 2 and you're like, wait a minute, I think this is a real building. This just looks too extensive to not be real in some major capacity.
Yeah.
And it's so refreshing. It's like
Yeah.
when we watched The Fugitive, I was like, oh, they made movies where they crash a train.
Yeah.
Like, it's so nice to see stunts and things.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I'm so excited for Mission Impossible.
Dude, hell, I was watching Tropic Thunder, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is!" I did not remember how fucking expensive. this
So
movie
well
is.
directed, that
It's-
masterpiece of comedy.
Yeah, and they like for a joke about the explosions going off too soon. They really blew up those.
Yeah.
That was fucking nuts.
I'm also hoping with Mission Impossible that there's less CGI and stuff because of the pandemic had to rewrite some. I think it's going to land really well, but I think a huge part of why we love that franchise is like it feels like a place. It feels all tangible. So I'm really excited for that.
It's movie magic.
John, what's next?
Alrighty, this one we've got some time and breathing room for 2022's Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Shuri meets Toussaint,
Okay.
her nephew and son of T'Challa, who reveals his Wakandan name.
Okay, for sure that will get paid off.
Yeah, I think that ties into the Young Avengers stuff.
Yeah,
we're getting.
this I would put this on the category of like, oh, we're just waiting.
Yeah, 3 years is very recent.
Again, one of my favorite post-credit scenes of all time, and Ryan Coogler is doing Black Panther 3, so undoubtedly that's going to get paid off in some way.
Denzel.
He grows into Denzel.
Yeah, it's canon.
All right.
In 3 years.
After Wakanda Forever, we move on to 2023. Ant-Man, the best one. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, the Council
this
of
one's for sure happening.
Kangs. Council of Kangs.
This one's for sure
Putting
happening.
money on this one.
Ant-Man Magazine Dreams. It came out. It was a smash. The Council of Kangs discusses
see
multiversal
that.
threats. And, well, this got paid off. Loki and Mobius observe Victor Timely in the past.
Man, that scene. Well, the Loki stuff's great. Yeah, I feel like Kang is the easiest decision there.
Wow. I liked him in Quantumania, I think. Didn't I?
Jonathan Majors?
Yeah, Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, he's the part of that's good.
He's the
He's the
best
best
part.
of it by a lot.
Yes, he is.
I like ants.
Michael Douglas, is that you? I think that the what's craziest to me about this whole experience,
Quantumania was the start of the downfall.
what's craziest to me about this whole experience is that was only 2 years ago.
Yeah, I remembered like being baffled and shooting my out of the theater, like my 1 minute one.
Yeah.
Just like, I really don't like this movie.
I had that, like, I did an 8-minute one, and like 3 to 4 minutes in, my hype of having just seen a Marvel movie faded in real time. And like, it was like halfway through review, I was like, oh no. And I see the light leave my eyes in my review. And I think it was like, oh, Marvel movie. And I think that's kind of how we all started feeling.
It surely dampened. If Jonathan Majors didn't have all the legal troubles that occurred, I think they would have still stuck with the plan with some rewrites. I think they would have like made some pivots, made a little bit of changes.
Especially post Loki, which is incredible.
I mean, Jonathan Majors was insanely good in Loki. He showed he could play multiple versions of Kang if you gave him enough time to pull it off. If you gave him enough time to chew on it. Not whatever what I called SNL cameos of like Rama Tut and stuff. Like those versions, it just looked like a goddamn joke to me.
Yeah.
And then the Council of Kangs, iconic moment in comics, translated just
Does
really
not.
stupid.
Does not. Not everything works.
It just doesn't feel real.
Uh-uh.
And it doesn't feel like multiple characters. I think when you have an actor playing multiple characters, it usually takes some time for an audience to quickly to adjust to them playing multiple characters.
I agree.
On screen. Sinners is like going to be one of the best movies of the year for most people.
Yeah.
Who are like film aficionados. And I think for most people, it still takes a little bit of time, and it has nothing to do with Michael B. Jordan's talent as an actor because he is incredible in the film as both roles. It just takes a little bit of time to adjust to seeing him play two people. So when you're throwing in like a billion Kangs,
Yeah. We need a minute.
Kangs too. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know about this. Does it? Because I'm hyper aware that it's. I think most people are too hyper aware that he is not in the same room with himself. You know, this is
You feel
he's
it.
doing a separate take as this guy, and that illusion needs time to settle into. So I don't think it's a good idea to do that.
Not as a post-credit scene.
No.
Also, it raises so many questions of like most of them look like him. There's like a deformed one, but like they all look like him, save for a couple exceptions.
And a lot of them are behaving like dumbasses.
Yeah.
You know?
And so like it asks the question of like what are multiverse, like what are variants, what are multiverse, like it's like are they all the same? Is it a
Yeah.
Nexus being? What's going on?
Well, you have three who are clearly in charge, and the rest are like, pass the ball. Yeah. You know?
Just a bunch of jocks confused.
Really,
You're like,
yeah.
that's why that guy was the genius because this is what we're dealing with.
Why are you cheering and what are you cheering for?
Who are you cheering? It's just you.
Yeah. Why are you all like, like touching this? This is a stupid ass post-credit scene.
Is bad.
It is a wild-eyed energy they put on that. It is like so over the top as to be like watching Space Jam 2 or something like that, where you have all the like weird, like spirit Halloween costumed IP characters. Yeah,
It's true that you're right. There's like three incredibly distinct Kangs who speak with different rhythms and voices and look totally
and then
different.
Thousands
of
of
same ones and like a couple of scrolls, you know?
it's like House of Cosby's. Every 10th Kang is extraordinary, and the other 9 in between are really sort of janky.
And they all dress alike.
Yeah, and this is coming off of a scene when Ant-Man just beat him, you know?
Yeah, and coming up when Ant-Man beats the most powerful of them and then goes like, I wonder if there are any consequences to that.
Yeah.
That was the end.
Ants first take him down, and then Ant-Man beats him. And I don't care, Ant-Man and Wasp, I don't care what freaking semantics people want to play with that shit where they want to defend that. And someone like, no, they beat
Ants.
him. They still beat him.
I
These
like
two.
ants.
I like
These
ants.
That's all you need to know.
So, yeah.
Remember
all
when
right.
Bill Murray was in that movie?
Oh, my God, you're right.
I cannot wait to watch that back. I saw you go, no, yes, yes, in real time.
That was a priceless
Oh,
movie
shit,
moment.
he was in that movie.
Yeah, he's got history with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, folks. A movie of enigmas.
It's so weird because when you look back at like phase 1 and 2 and 3, I could just say phase 1, 2, 3. When you look at those phase 1 through 3, it's so easy to recall those films. and
this was 2 years ago.
I know.
And I mentioned someone, one of the biggest comedians of all time from 2 years ago. Certainly not.
It's 2 years, and so much of what we're unpacking with all this is like, oh my God, how could I forgot.
Remember when you were like, I don't know if there's enough to talk about in all the post-credit scenes. When we were texting, I'm like, Greg, there's a lot.
Okay, so yeah, that was an awful one, and
This is
that's
a very rich vein.
definitely not happening, that one. We're definitely not following through.
That's the safest bet right there.
It's a safest bet of 100% not happening. The biggest post-credit scene,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
The biggest one is the most not
whole
happening.
list, the whole list, the biggest
Easily.
one, but definitely not
Setting
happening.
up an Avengers film
Yeah.
that will no longer exist.
I mean, think narratively wise of how people try to defend that shit when they go through. Well, no, I mean,
It wasn't the
it was part of the
ants.
plan.
It was the time portal.
It's a time.
We
yeah.
just got sucked in time. The ants only helped.
But even think about how they try to say, well, actually, look at the original plan. Maybe this was already. I've heard people say this of when you look at how Loki season 2 ends, that is wrapping up the Kang story. I'm like, then that's a terrible post-credit scene in Quantumania.
Because then
what a terrible
Kang
narrative.
ends, and then also what?
Yeah, so Kang, your post-credit scene is also all these people coming together to go whoop some ass and claim worlds or whatever, and then it's supposed to get ended in the Loki season 2 finale.
I think in hindsight,
Has
it's a
nothing
good
to do-
ending,
has
but they
nothing to do
have
with the
nothing to
council.
do with each
Yeah.
other. Also, it just ended, and then your next scene is teasing Loki season 2, where it then ends.
Yes.
It's a mess.
So, John, what's next?
2023.
All right, the last one on the list for now, 2023 is The Marvels. Monica Rambeau awakens in an alternate universe, meeting variants of her mother and Beast, the CGI Beast from X-Men.
Was Tiana Paris in that's her name, right? Tiana
Yep.
Paris. Was she in the Doomsday Chairs?
No.
But Beast is.
Yeah.
It's got to be that Beast.
Got to be that Beast. I think.
But Brie Larson's on it.
No, not a lot of lady chairs.
Huh.
But yeah.
Avengers Doomsday.
Avengers Doomsday, May 2026.
Nut up this May.
Bro's gonna bro. Downey's back. I think this has been almost paid off in the chairs, minus Tiana Paris. But I think she'll be back. I think Doomsday, I think this is going to pay off.
Well, yeah, I mean, the setup of that
Is tying into this.
is more about Beast than it is about what's going on with Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, of course you want to know, but
The pop is Beast.
The pop is
Comic
the thing you
accurate
want to
Beast.
follow through on is what's happening with Beast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that'll get paid off.
Yeah, that's Doomsday next year. And then no 2024?
I mean, we've had...
Not on this list, but I guess is
What's
what's the statute of limitations for
not paying off?
non-payoffable? Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, it's 2024, so we need
It's
to...
2025 right now.
Oh, my God, you're right.
Halfway.
What movies came out last year?
Only one, Deadpool and Wolverine, but there was 3 shows, right? Deadpool and Wolverine had no post-credit scene that would tie
I
into
think we
anything.
covered them, right?
What was Deadpool and Wolverine's post-credit scene? I remember
genuinely don't remember what it is.
I remember the end credits was the X-Men with Green Day. Oh my god.
There had to have
It's
been
Johnny Storm saying all that
yeah,
stuff.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
right,
right.
yeah.
It was like a cutscene.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, thank you. And then shows last year we had What If, which is done. We had not Miss Marvel. That was 2 years ago. What was last year?
Miss Marvel, the Mutant.
The Mutant Payoff. That's
Which-
Doomsday.
I mean,
But that was in show
Yeah, that's right.
because the music.
Echo and Agatha All Along were last year.
Echo
X-Men
and
97.
Yeah,
Well-
I mean, Echo got followed up on.
And then Agatha will
Has a-
be.
Agatha has an ending.
Yeah.
And that again, that's something that we have to wait to see
Magic Doomsday.
before we can declare like they're not.
So I think we're
missing
caught
it.
up.
Yeah, we're caught up. All right, guys. Well, in the comments, it would be great if you could let us know which one of these post-credit scenes are you most disappointed by not being followed up on.
What a journey that just was.
Yeah, that was way longer than I thought it would be. I thought it was gonna be like a fucking breeze.
And now discuss the tariffs.
Yeah, we're good today. All right. Well, thank you, Coy, for holding the fort down here.
It was a journey we went on. I'm shocked at what we did and didn't remember. Like I'm genuinely shocked at something.
Deadpool and Wolverine one.
But that's what's crazy is like some things were so impactful. You're like, of course that happened. And then other things I was like, Bill Murray. Yeah. But yeah, crazy. What a journey, guys. I think we got some questions.
Do we?
Fan questions. Aren't we segueing into the end of the show?
There's a segment to the end.
Time
Nah, that was a warm up. Here's some fan questions. Go watch this now. Question with the patrons. All right, we got 2 today. So what's the first one, Johnny?
All right. First question comes from Thomas Doherty. I apologize if this question sounds rude. It's okay.
Oh.
It's okay. But truly, just curious of Coy's thought process. Why do you like Man of Steel even though Superman's personality isn't comic accurate? But you are worried about the Fantastic Four being good because Johnny Storm and Mr. Fantastic's personalities are not comic accurate.
I think it's a difference of sharing a universe that is aiming at one certain tone and then something starting a universe. I really think Man of Steel is one of the most visually stunning and atmospheric comic book anythings. I think it's an incredible adaptation in a way that I don't see the main character as, but others do. And I'm not the be-all, end-all purveyor. I talk about comics a lot, but I didn't write them. So my take on Superman happens to differ from that take. So I can appreciate the film as a different experience of Superman than I might have, and I can watch it and enjoy it, but I don't feel like it's the comics. I don't feel like it's the character how I see him, whereas Fantastic Four is melding into a universe that is largely how I see these characters. I see the MCU as not directly adapting the comics by any means, but certainly, making them much more akin to how I see them. So my experience just comes from this is the 37th film in an ongoing franchise versus Man of Steel started a universe. And when Man of Steel started that universe, it made a tone. Like you can't argue that BVS was also in the Man of Steel tone. Justice League is absolutely in the Man of Steel tone. So I think that's the difference. I don't know if that answers the question, but I feel like when I saw Man of Steel, I went, oh, what a fascinating take. I enjoy this. It's not how I see the character. When I look at Fantastic Four, I go, I'm going to hopefully enjoy this. These are my thoughts on the character. That is completely different than mine. And I think I'll enjoy it like I enjoy Man of Steel, but I feel like I'm also going to have a similar experience where that'll be part of my review. If the character is the same in the film as he feels in the trailers, I feel like I'll be having a similar review where I'll be describing the beautiful work from Matt Shakman, the stunning imagery, the tone, all those things working, but then me not necessarily feeling like my favorite character in the Fantastic Four is that character. So I think they're going to be similar. I think you asked how that's different, but I think they're going to be similar.
Well, I think the expectation is also different in a lot of ways. Superman has been done correctly in terms of accurate representation of him. I mean, the Christopher Reeve adaptation is a classic for a reason, and it was the biggest iteration of Superman, and it stood the test of time because it feels, looks, everything about it feels like Superman, and they've had a correct correct is probably not the right word because then it sounds like I'm saying Man of Steel
Something
is
is incorrect. Yeah.
I think people know what I mean, though, by this feels like the actual version of Superman. Whatever you think about Lex or whatever, fine, whatever. But Christopher Reeve nailed it. Fantastic Four has yet to have that.
By all four of them, not at all.
No.
And I would say, Michael B. Jordan and Chris Evans did do a pretty good job, but the movies didn't.
No, exactly. And Chris Evans was incredible. And he was the highlight from those. That's why people were jazzed about seeing him appear in Deadpool and Wolverine. However, if you are going to be bringing in the Fantastic Four into the MCU, I think what people want is something, what a lot of people would hope for is the most accurate version that you could possibly ascertain from the comics.
Especially after it's been earned by the MCU paving the way. It's not starting something, it's continuing something. We've built trust.
Yeah.
The MCU is a powerhouse, and no matter what, people will show up. So now is the time to get it right.
Yeah, and I think Fantastic Four, there's been a lot of championing to get this right for a long time. Long time.
Every 10 years.
When it got into the hands of Marvel Studios, finally, that was the golden opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's different. It's different. Whereas you can accept, I think it's easier to accept a new Superman at a certain point, which, granted, keep in mind, a lot of people didn't. And I would say there's a pretty big divide on that. We already had so much Superman by that point. We haven't had that much Fantastic Four, and we're not guaranteed to get as much Fantastic Four.
And I also think there's something to be said to how I do all of my content. I am always looking for the things I like in something. So I think just the question, how can you like Man of Steel and be worried about Fantastic Four? It's because I will still sing the praises of the things that work for me in Fantastic Four, just as I have. I've been very clear about how excited I am for Eben Moss-Backrack, how excited I am for Vanessa Kirby, how excited I am for Matt Shakman's world. All of those things will be part of my review, and I'm going to focus on them. But if I don't like the Johnny Storm take, I will be clear on it. So I think it's tricky because I think people are more comfortable and more used to people highlighting criticisms, whereas I put those as the bottom on the addendums. I front load. Even if I don't see something as my style of thing, I'm still going to lead with the stuff I like first, even if it's 10% of it. That's still going to be what I come out with.
Let's play a little game here. Okay, a little game. Imagine this, but everywhere.
Lights, cameras.
We know that from, right? No, that's a Fantastic Four. It's Chris Evans, first Fantastic Four.
Oh, yes. Sorry, that was a very obscure reference. I was unprepared for
Did
a
you
quote.
know?
That's, the main thing. I haven't actually seen all of that movie, and that's the main thing I associate with that movie.
Nicely done.
So my point with that is Chris Evans in that movie even from the trailer, looks like a goddamn highlight. If you don't know anything about Johnny Storm, is there really something in there? If you don't know anything about Johnny Storm or know the actor Joseph Quinn, I don't know how you could see Johnny Storm in there and be like, oh, I'm so excited for this character. Outside of if you've never happened to see Human Torch powers on screen and you're looking at a guy flamed on,
Yeah.
I genuinely go, what's in this trailer of him that makes me excited to see this version of Johnny Storm? And if I didn't know, I would especially have no interest in seeing who this brooding guy is. And yeah, I think there's total reason to be a little bit wary.
I quote picture this but everywhere just based on that trailer and have done for like many years. Like that's a testament to the impression that left, and his version of the character does leap off that trailer. You know exactly, I imagine what the flavor would be. Whereas Joseph Quinn, it's a big old mystery box.
Yeah, that's that. What's the next one? But thank you for the question, Thomas.
Thomas, once again, thank you so much. Question 2 comes from Calder Chevry. Do you think Marvel would benefit from adapting an Elseworlds approach like the DCU? I felt a bit let down by the idea of what if might be, and lately have been craving a new take on characters I know without the responsibility of being connected. Like, what's a Matt Reeves Captain America look like? A Spike Lee Black Panther, which I say we should greenlit right this very moment. What are your guys' thoughts?
This is exactly what I want. I think that comic books are so vast and have been around so long. You have to have resets. You also have to have different runs. There's been times there were 6 Spider-Man comics out a month. So if you're reading Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Sensational Spider-Man, Peter Parker Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, and Untold Tales of Spider-Man like I was, you don't expect that all to feel the same, or why are you reading 6 different titles? The whole point of these characters is that they're interpretive, which ties into the last question, which is how I can like Man of Steel, because it's an interpretation. So I think it's really important to get new interpretations from time to time, and I don't think you get to do that if your universe spans 20 years and has the same take. And that's the beauty of Elseworlds. That's the beauty of Earth 2s and these different variations. It's a big reason of why I was so critical of What If, because it had such potential. It had so much hope to do that, especially when you cast the voice actors from the live action to give it that oomph of, this is the character, but different. That gave a lot of potential. And then when it just didn't feel like they went as far as they could have often, that hurt the experience for me. So I do think the MCU, I think it's the reason I'm so excited for the DCU. DCU hasn't even started yet, but the idea that we get stuff that feels like Black Label or Vertigo or, their current all-in stuff and the legacy versions of the characters, the fact that we have nothing on screen yet except Creature Commandos, and that little vignette of the superheroes in Creature Commandos and what we've seen of Superman already has me excited at the different tonalities they can do, and then greenlighting stuff like Clayface and then all these different things that feel so different. That's comic books in a way that isn't one long story. To me, the Marvel Cinematic Universe's greatest strength is that it is a box office juggernaut because people feel like they need to watch everything to get to the next thing. But I feel like that's their exact biggest hindrance in storytelling. So how to solve that is to have a continuity line and then have things outside of it. And that's what I think they should do.
Aren't they already doing that? I think
Fantastic Four is from another universe, so like they can do that.
Werewolf by Night?
Yeah, Werewolf by Night is technically a special presentation, but then Punisher is going to be a special presentation that does tie in.
Well, it's weird. It is strange when we've earned a multiverse saga, and it does seem like they struggle a little bit with their Elseworlds, like where they do feel like they have to still connect it in some way,
and then they don't, and you're like, why is Doctor Strange not that one? We had the option.
Yeah. It's a strange prospect, but that's one of the cool things I think about what DC Studios is doing, because they're a little bit in a I don't really know how to even describe what weird land they're in right now, because when James Gunn took over, it's been a confusing narrative for a lot of like, wait, what's going to count? Does the Flash count? This is the reset? I'm confused. Does this not count anymore? I guess it doesn't count anymore because you said the way you said it, it sounded like it was going to count. But they have other things that have been so well regarded. The Batman, Penguin, Creature Commandos. And the fact that they've been able to have successes that are not about interconnectivity to a larger universe has already positioned DC to be successful without the interconnectivity. Whereas what made Marvel grow, and the biggest specialty of Marvel that for sure changed the media landscape, movie franchises, is interconnectivity. And it's almost like we can't let it go.
Yeah.
We can't. We need it.
It's
we
the
need
thing we do. It's how we did it.
That's how we popular. That's how we're big. And even though in that moment my sarcasm is talking down on it, the flip side is it's part of the genius beyond just box office.
It's
wise.
magic.
It's magic. It is. Remember when it first happened? Phase one.
I still go.
Beautiful.
How does the Avengers exist?
That first time watching the Avengers, Joss Whedon's, no fee. Like, it's not my favorite Avengers movie. I would put Infinity War way above it. But damn, I will never forget that first time, like the whole experience, and then in the battle in New York with the giant tracking shot of all of them.
It still gives me chills, and I've seen it 100 times. Talking about it right now has me excited, and that's the power of that.
Yeah.
But I feel like it has a purpose, and so does the other. Yeah. And I feel like they need to also figure out what that other is.
But that's why DC has the capability to make interconnectivity with their main timeline super exciting, because they're not dependent on it right now.
Right.
Whereas Marvel has a harder time because they don't seem like they have the ability to be out of it. Even watching What If, we watched it still with.
Is it gonna?
How's this variant gonna go into our main timeline?
Yeah.
How's
Captain
how's
Britain,
it gonna
that's
happen?
her, right? Never.
Yeah, right. Doctor Strange,
Yeah,
like
that
how
was
you're
such an
bringing
issue.
up, how the main Strange Supreme, should have been the one that's what we all thought when we saw the trailer for Multiverse of Madness.
And we got excited because of that.
We got excited because we thought it was the one from What If, and then it ended up not being, and then thereby diminishing returns. It felt like for a lot on What If. And a lot of people like What If. We loved What If Season 2.
Absolutely.
What If Season 3 was liked by a lot. We were not big fans. And I agree. Yeah, I think they're in an odd position, though, because it is harder for people to accept. It's like when you're doing a YouTube channel and you're trying to introduce a new segment.
Right. You're like, we don't do this here. What is this? Why is this?
Yeah, it's a little hard to build up. But I think they need to do something where they are super confident with leaning into that, with it being its own thing.
And it doesn't directly relate, but the number one word I have to describe Thunderbolts is confident. I think Marvel's in a very good spot, Thunderbolts onward, because it is a confident film.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. That's the end of the video now. We'll see you guys next week.